This little camera right here is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And if you exist anywhere on the internet or are in tune with all the latest camera gear, content creation stuff, you know about this camera because it is probably one of the most sought after and curious cameras out right now. I've had mine for a little over 7 months and I want to share with you just how much this camera has really changed my vlogging experience. There are so many helpful and informative videos out there sharing all the specs about this camera, the super techie side and information. With that being said, I just have no interest in regurgitating that information because I feel like you can get that better somewhere else. Instead, in this video, I want to share with you guys why I love this camera, why I think it's worth it, and how it's helped simplify my vlogging. I think one of the biggest questions people ask themselves when considering buying this camera is, will this really help me to vlog? Is it really worth it? Should I just go and splurge on like the Sony ZV-E10? I just want to make a disclaimer before I start this video, and that is that I did not spend my own money on this camera. I was gifted this by a friend of mine, which is crazy to me. So I had been talking to them about considering buying this camera and I was on the fence about, should I get it? Should I not get it? And I had been talking about it for months and then they surprised me with it, like literally out of left field, did not expect it. And so I am super, super grateful for this. But I think if I were to have spent my own money on it, I'd still feel the same. This camera is 100% worth it. And I honestly recommend it to anyone who wants to vlog or simplify their vlogging experience. Let's get into all of my accessories and all of the products that I bought to accompany my Osmo. My friend did not get me the creator combo, so there were a few things that I had to buy separately, which is totally okay. So starting right off, this is the battery extender. If you've watched videos about this camera, you already know what this stuff is, but we gonna get into it anyways. This is not only an extender if you want your DJI to be a little longer, it's also a battery pack. And when you charge it, it shows you what the battery level is when you plug it in. Yes, as you can see, mine is on 3%. You charge it the same way that you charge the Osmo. There is this USB-C port right here. There is a screw thingy in here where you can adjust the next item that I bought separately, which is the tripod. Self-explanatory, it's a tripod. You can screw it onto the battery pack and then you have this long thing which literally looks like a weapon. And you can sit it down in front of you or whatever you're trying to do. I don't think I had to buy this separately, but I believe it comes with the DJI even if you don't get the creator combo. I personally keep this on all the time. Like I never have my DJI like this because guaranteed in whatever situation I'm gonna need this little piece at the end. It just extends the camera, and you can also attach the tripod to this. Essentially, the battery extender does the same thing, except this one doesn't charge. You can attach accessories to it. You can have a little bit of a longer grip on your camera. Then I had to buy the mic separately because the regular camera does not come with a mic. Creator combo comes with mic. The mic is really nice. It has the magnet here. This is the strongest magnet I've ever experienced. You can put it on your shirt, connect it to your DJI. Once you connect it once, every time you turn this on, it'll connect as long as it's on. The DJI mic itself is really nice, but if you know that you're gonna be in a loud setting or gonna be far away from the camera, this is perfect. So the mic came with this pouch, and I've put a lot of my DJI stuff in here when I'm traveling on the go. I put this in my purse or in my backpack, whichever one I'm bringing. Moving on to my non-DJI branded items. We have this plastic gimbal and screen protector. I like to throw my DJI into my purse or into my backpack. And this is a strong gimbal, but a very sensitive gimbal, and you just don't want to risk like damaging it. When I know I'm not going to use my DJI for a good bit of time, I'm going to put this on it. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that this gimbal is cooked if you drop it, but I have a video on my channel called something about me being in the New York City subway. And in that story time, I was telling y'all about how I literally was like running for my life in the New York City subway, and I dropped this camera on the ground, y'all. I was like fearing for my life, so at the time I didn't even care. I literally would have left the camera there, but that's neither here nor there. And as you can see, she got some battle scars, okay? She got some battle scars on her. I literally thought that my DJI was gonna be broken. Not a single problem since then. Aside from the little scratches on it, y'all, this thing survived. Okay, she survived. Next, I have a screen protector that you probably can't really see that well. This lens and then the screen itself, and I just ordered those from Amazon. This little accessory right here literally never comes off of my DJI, and it's off right now because I wanted to show you guys the DJI without it. This is the magnetic mount case thingamabob, okay? This is probably one of the top accessories. If you get anything for your DJI, get this. You loop it through, you put it on, and snap it closed. You literally can put this on anything, obviously, that is magnetic, and you can get some really cool dynamic shots. This also acts as a, let's say it's laying on a flat surface and you want to record yourself with the camera on the flat surface, or whatever the case may be. I mostly use this for the magnetic mount. You know what I'm saying? So now let's get into why I love this camera, how it's helped me in my vlogging journey, and why I think it's completely worth the purchase. Number one, the most obvious thing is the size and the low keyness of this camera. I'm currently filming with the Sony ZV-E10, and this was my latest vlogging camera before the DJI. And honestly, as much as I've had experience in vlogging, and I think I'm a lot more comfortable with it now, the size of this thing on top of the mic and all that stuff, it's just, it draws attention. Sometimes it can get to be a hassle to vlog in certain places and pull out this thing. Sometimes places don't allow it because it's so big and it's so just like out there in your face. I will say that this still attracts attention. People can still notice that you're vlogging, whether you have a DJI or a FX3, but with the DJI you get a lot less and it's a lot more casual, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the pressure is lower when you don't have like this big kind of movie camera, even though this is not a movie camera, but you know what I'm saying? Another thing that I really love about this camera is just how easily it can fit into my purse or my backpack. I mean, obviously it can fit in my backpack, but I personally carry smaller sized purses, and so the fact that I can fit my camera into it is just, it makes my life so much easier because I'm not always going out to go work, or I'm not always bringing a backpack. So the fact that I can just toss it into my purse, which this one is a little bit bigger than some of my other purses, but it's just like, perfect. I cannot do that with my ZV-E10. In terms of my content creation process and just the simplicity of vlogging, I did Vlogmas for the first time last year, and I did not skip a day, y'all. I don't think I would have been able to do that without the DJI. Like, that sounds dramatic, but I'm serious. And I say that because there were days where maybe I didn't have an idea, or I didn't really even feel like vlogging, and trying to whip out this ZV-E10 and set it up or just carry it around, it made having something so simple that you can just pull out of your bag or out of your pocket. I did Vlogmas to challenge myself with consistency and just getting used to the idea of putting content out more than I watch content, or more than I sit down and think about content. I wanted the goal of my Vlogmas to be just to pick up the camera and post the video, and the DJI really helped me do that because it's so simple. This camera for me is about simplicity. I want this camera to be the camera that I pull out when I don't want to think about it too much. Like, my ZV-E10 has probably more settings and more of a setup that I have to do when I'm using it, but this thing, I just pull it out and we start recording, and that's how I feel like it should be. Another thing I love about the Osmo is how creative you can get. Because it's so small, it can fit in places where my Sony ZV-E10 can't fit. I don't have this particular accessory, but I saw a video of a girl who bought a neck mount where it looks like a necklace, and then you can put the DJI on it, and I think it's called a point of view mount. And because this thing is so light, it's possible to put this camera around your literal neck. And I was like, that is so fire. That actually might be my next purchase. I got a bike riding shot on my DJI using this magic arm. This counts as an accessory, but because I bought this before I got my DJI, I didn't consider it in the accessory part of this video because I do use this with my Sony ZV-E10. You can use this for any camera that can fit on it. This is a magic arm, and I like to put my DJI on this to get a little bit more creative, especially if I'm on a bike or I'm in the car or I want to get a shot from a different higher point in my room. I've done multiple shots in my vlogs with this. And you take this clamp part, you tighten it up around whatever you're gonna tighten it up around, you adjust the camera, and you're all good. For example, I vlog in the grocery store, and sometimes I'll use the magnetic mount and put this on the basket, or I'll use the magic arm. There's just so many different things that you can do with this camera. I look crazy with these freaking torture tools in my hand. There's just so many things you can do to make the DJI work for you. It is a great vlogging camera, but you can also tell so many different stories, get so many different angles, and just be really creative with it because of how versatile it is, how small it is, how lightweight it is. If you're starting out with content and your main focus is vlogging and you want to start out vlogging, the DJI, I would say 100%. Just because of how travel savvy it is, how versatile it is, and how easy it is. I think a lot of people, when they're starting out vlogging, cameras like the Sony ZV-E10 or bigger can be a lot. It's heavy, it doesn't fit in your bag. You probably have to carry it. All those things sound very small, but if you're trying to do this on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, you're gonna start to want to simplify your life. Having the DJI, especially if you're just starting out, just makes the process so much more simple. You have no excuses. Ain't no more excuses. You just pull this thing out and you start recording. It is a pricey item. This is not a discount camera, in my personal opinion. It's about the same price as I got for my ZV-E10. By the way, my ZV-E10 was used, so I think I got it for like $200 off of the original price, which made it about the same price as this. As you guys know, like I said already, I didn't buy this with my own money, but I would have. And so I think these two cameras, the ZV-E10 and the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, do two different things and they serve different purposes, and those purposes are up to you, the user. The camera you use doesn't really have much to do with your creativity or your success online or in content creation. Simplicity is key, in my personal opinion, because if we focus too much on the different specs of this and I need it to be extravagant or cinematic, and now I have to have, but you haven't even mastered the art of doing the thing, the camera doesn't really matter. Now you have to work on something else. I still to this day film with this, and sometimes I use my ZV-E10, and the image quality is not the same, but it works for me. It makes my life simpler. When I just don't feel like dealing with this camera, I pull this one out. When I went to Japan, I brought my ZV-E10 with me, and I think I literally only used it when I was in my hotel. I was not about to be walking around Japan. Mind you, I'm already carrying a lot of stuff, okay? I'm not about to be walking around Japan with this camera. Like, I just didn't want to do that. I have 3 different Japan vlogs. 99% of those videos were filmed with this, and I think it was the best decision I ever made. This camera is worth it. So if that's you, if you feel like you want to simplify vlogging, you want to have a more lighter experience when it comes to camera gear, the DJI is where it's at, okay? So I'm going to show you guys my settings that I use on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 on the screen. These are the settings I use currently and I have been using for a while. You're gonna see that I film in D-Log-M, which is basically like log footage. If you know, you know. It basically gives you more control over the colors in your video, and then I put a LUT on top of my footage. I will be doing a separate video about how I edit on my Sony ZV-E10 and my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and kind of explaining my process for color grading and how I go about that. So enjoy.